It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome into June the 1st. He's back, or is he? The saga of DeAndre Williams. We talk about that in just a minute. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl got their date yesterday, their time. Steve Harrett's going to join us in a few minutes. We will discuss that with him. He was also at the Big 12 conference meetings. And all this new discussion about expansion, Colorado. We'll see what he might know when we chat with him. And, of course, the NBA Finals begin. We got to make predictions, J-Mo.
Oh, that's
little breakdown, little
terrifying,
prediction.
Predicting this one, that's terrifying. You know, Vegas says that 5 games, and they're terrified of people betting the 4-game sweep, the series score for the Nuggets. That seems a little bit short-sighted to me.
I got to be honest with you. I didn't know that was the way Vegas went, but great minds think alike. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. I had to double-check because it used to be, because all these series are 2-2, 1-1-1, right? That's a 7-game series. For a little bit there, the only one that wasn't was the championship series. They did like baseball, 2-3-2. They don't do that this year. It's 2-2, 1-1-1. So that's how you could get to 5 or 6, depending on what you think. If it was 2-3-2, I might have said 6, but it's not. So we'll get into that in a little bit. Let's first talk about DeAndre Williams. There's no doubt that if DeAndre Williams came back, he was all-conference last year, led the team in rebounding, second leading scorer, actually shot decent from the free throw line, actually hit a few threes and became a bigger three-point threat as the year went on, and was an emotional leader of this team that got to the NCAAs, really could have taken a long ride in the NCAAs had they gotten a timeout called. That's water under the bridge. I gotta let that go. Penny has come up short thus far in recruiting. He's always got a trick up his sleeve. I know he's got something coming. Maybe by the end of this week, now that all the NBA guys that were going to get out of the draft have gotten out of the draft. Yesterday, a weird wrinkle. A rumor started that DeAndre Williams, who will be 27 years old in October, DeAndre Williams might come back. His mother immediately got on Twitter and social media and said, that's crazy. He's moved on. He then came back and said, I love my mother, but I hadn't told her this yet. But with my lawyer, we have figured out that there could be a way back to the University of Memphis. And we will apply for a hardship waiver through the NCAA to do that. Now, there was a reaction from the athletic department that was, we think he's used his 5 years of eligibility. Now, upon further review and talking with an official from the U of M, who thinks that the chances are still slim, but you never know with a waiver and a petition. And having a lawyer could be helpful. But it all comes down to, in Evansville, he was not able to compete his first year. So the standard procedure would be that you would have applied for that year to get that back. He never did. He's claiming he never knew. Apparently, his lawyer said there is some precedent that would allow him to get back one more year, which would really be like a 6th year but a 5th year because of the COVID. Now, I don't think the chances are better than 50-50. They're less, according to my inside information. But there is a chance, depending on where the NCAA is. And, could there be a legal suit from DeAndre through his lawyer if they didn't give him the waiver because he was done wrong by Evansville? And those people in their compliance didn't give him the breaks that he should have gotten. And there have been cases where older players have gotten eligibility to play even past the age of 27. There's a punter who's 32. There was I can't remember the football player. There was a good story by Mike Mark Giannotto, who pointed this out, of a kid 28 playing football.
Yeah, I don't know about the 28-year-old guy. And Stetson Bennett was very old, too, wasn't he? He was like
I think he was 26.
26 or something like that. And you see that a lot with us. Like you mentioned, the punters. A lot of those guys from Australia, they come and they play Australian rules football.
Right.
They obviously have all of their years of eligibility to play college football, and they bring them over. So certainly not one-of-a-kind scenario if DeAndre Williams was to come back.
No. This would take a team that at this moment, without the additions that I think Penny's going to have, but at this moment, this team appears to be, especially with Mikey Williams' status in doubt, this appears to be, at this moment, an NIT team. You put DeAndre Williams back on this team, don't forget Caleb Mills is a solid player. Now you're talking about being an NCAA tournament team again, just with that one addition. Who knows who else he brings? So there's still some hope in that regard. But again, the percentages of Williams getting back in are probably not great. But the fact of the matter is, there is a chance, and he wants back. And he's applying. And this could also be, and this is why a lot of us don't like the NIL system, or, which it's a reaction from free labor all these years, and these kids with all this money deserve it. And I'm not going to argue that. This is one of the, what do we call, unintended consequences, which is really good for college basketball, is stars like DeAndre Williams, who are fringe NBA players. They're tweeners. They're not quite good enough to make the NBA, but they could play, G League players, unless you're a two-way guy, they don't make any money, right? You go to Europe and you could play, if you get to the upper levels, you play pretty good money, but most of those guys are not. You're only allowed in some countries, only 2 Americans. So you end up playing in a lower level league and you make, a living, but it's nothing like the NBA where you're set for life, right? So DeAndre Williams can probably muster more in NIL money than he could playing at some lower level European team. And this is the unintended consequence, in my opinion, of NIL, is it will keep a lot of these guys who are great college players, but will not be great pros. We'll keep them in the college game for 4 years. And once the COVID thing goes away, it's 4 years, guys. 5 years to play 4. COVID thing's going to go away, and I think we got maybe 1 more year of it. And then that's it. But to me, that's a cool thing.
But it's not the same way it was, though, where a guy that, even though he might stay 4 years of college, very well nowadays could play at 4 different schools in those 4 years.
That is true. That isn't the NIL. That's really the ability of the transfer portal.
And more leeway for going wherever you want.
And at this point, correct me if I'm wrong, but you get 1 transfer unless you're a grad school student. Right. Then you get a second transfer.
But these guys will graduate in like 3 years, too, because they're there year-round and taking summer school stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. There's certainly some sentiment that is saying do away with any kind of transfer restrictions. 1 year, go as many times as you want to. So, and that'll end up being free agency with the way NIL goes, right?
Certainly.
So we'll have to wait on that. All right. So that's sort of, is he back? Is he not back? Wait and see.
It'll be interesting to see.
It would be a big plus for Penny if he was able to get DeAndre Williams back in.
And then Tennessee announced Josiah Jordan-James is coming back to the school, and I heard he was going to go back as a walk-on because I don't think he had a great year last year, too. I don't know the validity of that, but I've heard that he's going back as a walk-on.
Well, he certainly didn't have a great year.
He did not have a great year. High promise for that. Good athlete, too, but just didn't play well great this year.
So if that is the case, then if he's really good this year, then he'd be put back on scholarship. But, the scholarship thing is Rick Barnes may go, well, I only have 13 scholarships. So, Shai, you want to come back, you're not going to be on scholarship this year. However, I can find you $100,000 in NIL.
That's right.
So
basically a scholarship. I mean, they're not paying for school, but obviously in a certain –
he can take it out of that.
That's right. And then the 2 kids for FAU are coming back, the point guard and the really good wing.
I kind of thought they would.
Really?
FAU is clearly going to be the favorite to win the AAC, the new American Athletic Conference.
That stinks for Memphis, but also a lot of people were anticipating they would just get picked apart for NIL, and this is kind of like a good piece of humanity, kind of, that all these guys feel obligation to the team or the coach or whatever the case might be.
There's
They
a
want to
lot
reload.
of money in Boca Raton, Florida.
That's true, too.
Although there's not a lot of seats in that gym. What is it, 1,500 that it seats?
It's small.
It's crazy. So, that absolutely is a great story, and we'll see if it continues. That guy got extended for 10 years or something. They gave him almost a lifetime contract to stay at FAU. And, maybe they're saying down the road we're going to get better facilities. Now we're in a better league. We'll see what happens with that. But he's got Josiah, it's Martin.
Elijah Martin,
and the other kid that was even better.
John L. Davis.
And
he was really good in tournament.
In the tournament. Martin was the better player in the regular season. So they got two studs back, and that will go a long way for them. All right, let's break this down a little bit. The Nikola Jokic story is a great one. You realize he lost 30 pounds?
That's crazy. Still big boy, though, I tell you.
In the last couple of years, and I didn't think he was in shape. He's in shape. He's in great shape. That's the way he became an NBA MVP, is that he always had the game. But he would get tired at the end of games, and he couldn't even dunk for a little bit. So when he lost the 30 pounds is when he became a MVP. And once they got Murray back, they've become a very, very dangerous team. So if you look at the experts, okay, ESPN has a board of 16 experts that are NBA writers that picked this series. How many of the 16 picked the Denver Nuggets?
I'm going to say 15 of the 16.
No, 12 of the 16.
Oh, wow, close now.
And all 12 who picked the Nuggets picked Jokic to be the MVP. All 4 that picked the Heat picked not Caleb Martin, but Jimmy Butler. Caleb Martin, though, that story's a great story. And Eli made a good point earlier when he was saying his piece on all this, that if Jimmy Butler doesn't go crazy in the second play-in game against Chicago, Martin never has this kind of series or playoff run that is going to get him millions of dollars, because he's become a really, really good NBA player. And I only think that will continue. It seems to me now he's got a lot of confidence. Team's got confidence in him. He's going to get more and more opportunities. So 12 of the 16 picked the Nuggets. And if you look at this, Denver outscores Miami average-wise by 6. They out-rebounded by 2.5. They actually have 5 more assists per game than Miami, and their assist is second in the NBA. Now, both of them are number 1 in ratio. They're tied that way. A lot of that's because Denver has so many assists, but Miami doesn't turn the ball over. So that kind of checks itself off. But 5 assists, that's teamwork. And points and rebounds are big. They play at a quicker pace. Miami is the second to lowest pace in the NBA at 29th. The Nuggets shoot the best in the league at 50.4% from the field. Much better field goal percentage than Miami. Miami's a better free throw percentage team, and their defense is slightly better rated than Denver's, but just a little bit, not that much. Taking all that into account, Jokic against Butler, Murray against who?
Well, they got good guard defenders, though, and they'll throw a bunch of stuff at you. It could be Bam against Jokic and Butler guards.
I'm just saying, when you look at the stars, the number 2 guy.
Well, then Bam probably, yeah.
It's Bam. And then 3 would be Caleb Martin.
Yeah, or I really like Max Strus quite a bit. I would probably put
Strus has to play great in this series for them to have any chance, I think. And I'm wondering about that. So taking all of that into account, and the fact that it goes 2-2-1-1-1, I think Denver is really good. I think Denver's clearly the better team. I think it's 1 versus 8 for a reason. It's not like the Lakers who redid themselves at the trade deadline. This is the Miami team that was truly an 8th seed. This was the Miami team that lost in the first play-in game and barely had to make a great comeback to win in the second play-in game. So with all of that said, 1 versus 8, 2-0 for sure. I think they win game 3, gentlemen split with the second game, and we go back to Denver and the altitude, and Denver wins in 5 games. That's my prediction.
I think I'm not confident in who I'm going to say is going to win, but I am very confident, or at least I'm more confident in the series going long. I think 6 or 7 games. I think that pacing thing you brought up is going to be very important, amongst other things. I'm going to say the Heat in 7. I think the Heat win this one in 7.
You think the Heat in 7. Now, is this because you're a Miami fan?
No, actually, the Heat is like the one Miami team that I do not consider myself a fan of. But
Wow.
But I just trust the Heat in this case. They have so many different defenses, and like you said, slow pace. The Nuggets, they get a lot of their money in transition, and then they also capitalize on mistakes from other teams on offense. They play very patient and capitalize on mistakes, and the Heat are the most disciplined defense in the NBA by far. So I think those two things work to the Heat's advantage. I just think it's going to be a long series. The Nuggets could win, the Heat will win.
Be more fun for us if you're right.
That's right.
That is for sure. Then you look at the coaching. Spoelstra, in my mind, had a huge advantage over Joe Mazzulla. I don't think he does in this. I think Malone, first of all, I think it goes Pop, then Spoelstra, I think, is the second longest tenure, and Malone might be third. He might be the third longest tenure.
Steve Kerr.
Oh, Steve Kerr, and then
Malone.
Mm-hmm. And then what? I think it's Taylor Jenkins after that at 5, right?
Yeah, because the next 4 were Mike Budenholzer, Dwayne Casey, Nick Nurse, and Monty Williams.
Yeah, they're all gone.
All gone.
And how about Monty Williams back again for 13-point-something million per year for a bunch of years? 7 years, is it?
Go Pistons.
It's crazy. Or 6 years. Crazy. What a deal he got. All right, we've matched it up now. Not sure about Williams. Hopefully he comes back. That's a heck of a story. And then the NBA begins tonight. Also yesterday, we got the date. We got the time for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. The Big Cheese head honcho joins us in a minute. I'm in the Family Leisure Studios. He's going to join us by phone. But I got to remind you, you got a few more days, and I'm not sure how much longer the vacation at home sale will go on with pools at their lowest prices and a free liner upgrade if you buy during this particular vacation at home sale. Spas, patio furniture, play gyms, all with a special sale, special financing available, and you get half off on installation if you say Sports 56. Get to I-40 and Whidden Road. And the heat is definitely starting to turn upward. Although humidity's not bad today, but it will be. You know that. Is your air conditioning system up to the task? If it isn't, and most likely it's not if you don't tune it up, you got to call Conway, 384-3511. There's so many different reasons why. First of all, it's $69 of preventative medicine. They come in, they do 16 points of tuning up inside. They go clean up everything outside. You don't have a costly breakdown during the middle of summer. And the best of all is you're efficient. So you save money on your energy bill, and your system lasts longer. Please call my guys. Do the preventative medicine. Spend the $69. You'll thank me later. And get that tune-up from Conway, 384-3511. So we know the date is Friday, the 29th of December, right before all the parties begin. Kickoff is at 2:30 at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, and the Big Cheese, the head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, joins us now. Are you happy with that date, sir?
Oh, it's terrific, Dave. To be able to play on a Friday afternoon, so we get kind of a daytime deal, the best part of the day and afternoon for a big holiday weekend. So folks here in Memphis, when we have a great 500 members of our AutoZone Liberty Bowl Association community members, and then, of course, all our key sponsors and the folks that just enjoy great football and the camaraderie there, is celebrating our 65th year continuous, the 7th oldest bowl game in America. So 65 years is quite a tribute to be continuously, in operation. So one of Memphis's great treasures. So Friday afternoon will be a great time, and inviting folks from out of town, because when we talk to the teams from the SEC and the Big 12, they're looking at their player schedules. Can they be home for Christmas? Can they come in? So I would guess that the teams will come in on the 26th stay through the game there, and so we'll have a good 5-day week there, and then fans can stay in town for celebrating through the weekend. So yeah, it's a terrific date, and we're really pleased to be able to announce that we'll kick off at 2:30 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, December 29th.
How about the windows on TV? Is there much competition? Because I know, in particular, AutoZone's going to look at that TV rating and see how good all of that is. I think you're the lead into the Cotton. Are you up against other bowl games?
That's a great point, David. And over the last 10 years, we've always been ranked in the top 10 of the non-CFP bowl games wherever we are. And I think that's a great tribute to the tradition and history, the patriotic theme, when people tune in and see a great crowd and see the beautiful field there. But yes, we really treasure the opportunity to have great ratings so people can see our community and see the celebration. So yes, we'll have a lead-in on ESPN from the Gator Bowl. They kick off at 11 o'clock Central. Of course, they're on the East Coast. And so then right as soon as they end, so we'll have a good audience lead into our game. And then, as you said, the Cotton Bowl, a CFP game, follows us on Friday evening. And now we always have one that Friday because the Sun Bowl is always in there. They start an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours before we are. So we'll have to, go up against them for probably the second half of their game, but then we'll be free and open there. And that's really critical because with so many bowl games these years, there's a lot of bowls that have to go head-to-head. And ESPN, for example, the next day on Saturday, they have bowl games on ABC, on ESPN2, and ESPN all competing against each other. Same thing on January 1st. As we all know, the bowl game in Tampa, the old Outback Bowl, has to go head-to-head against the Citrus and head-to-head against the Fiesta. So one on ABC, one on ESPN, one on ESPN2. So, yeah, it'll be a great opportunity to showcase Memphis to the rest of the world.
Now, you were at the Big 12 meetings. Part of the reason why you draw big crowds, you got SEC against the Big 12. That was a genius stroke of you and your board when you guys worked out that deal. But you go to their meetings. What do you think? Big Colorado's coming into the Big 12? Were they talking expansion? What do you know that you can share with us?
Well, they're being very aggressive in, looking at all their alternatives. Brett Yormark, who, of course, we knew him here when he was back in his NASCAR and then with the Brooklyn Nets. He is an NBA guy. He really wasn't a football guy, but he's a very aggressive entrepreneurial kind of commissioner. And I think there's definitely a mood to expand, but I think that's going to be based on whether the Pac-12 stays together, which my sense is, because they were out there meeting at the same time, the Pac-12, my sense, and this is just personal trying to pick up the vibrations, but they're waiting on the TV deal. And so all the Pac-12 schools, are wondering if they're going to get enough money to stay together, and then they would probably add, again, my opinion, add San Diego State and one other, whether Fresno State or SMU has been campaigning to get in there in the Pac-12. And so that is what then flows downhill to the Big 12, because the Big 12 has been very aggressive in courting the what they call the corner four schools there,
in Arizona,
Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah. Now, I think that the school, and it's my old school where I used to coach at the University of Colorado, they've got a split in their hierarchy. Coach Prime, who, Deion Sanders, he's a volatile guy, as you know, but he's got the world by a string out there now in Boulder, Colorado. He prefers, and I think he's been pretty open about it, to play in the Big 12 because he wants to recruit Texas. Now, whether does that really open up with Texas Tech and TCU schools in the Big 12, whereas most of the administration, they pushed hard to get into the Pac-12 because of the academics. They thought they were kind of big shots, with California and Stanford, but they really wanted to be in the LA market. And now that UCLA and SC are gone, maybe they're going to soften, and so maybe Colorado does pop. So they're debating that right now on Boulder, Colorado. So if Colorado moves, I don't know that Utah will move. I don't sense anything from Utah, and I don't know about the Arizona State schools because they kind of want to stay together with their rivals. So, if Colorado goes and then maybe matching Memphis up to go in with Colorado is a possibility. But Brett Yormark, since he's a basketball guy, he has been looking hard at Gonzaga and of all crazy things, in my opinion, UConn, because, of course, they're the national champion in basketball. So the Big 12 wants to be absolutely the best, basketball league, and so far in the last couple of years, the rankings prove that. They've had great basketball in terms of an overall quality of the league, from the Kansas and Texas Techs and all the great schools that play basketball so well in that conference. So it's a moving target. My own personal opinion is that I think Colorado might, and just a wild one, they might jump, but I think Yormark is pushing for the basketball side of the league, whereas football really drives the revenue. But there's no way that anybody's going to overcome the SEC and the Big Ten as far as power in football. So if he thinks, well, I'm going to make us the biggest basketball conference, and that might help Memphis with a great facility here in Memphis, and the Tigers doing well in basketball, and certainly a great name coach in Penny Hardaway. So
I think
it's still a moving target.
The biggest thing is you got to keep Arizona schools in the Pac-12. That and Utah, that would go a long way. All right, last thing for you, Sunday, big night at the Round Hilton. You've got
absolutely
the award for the great citizen of the area that you pick every year, and this year it's our friend Jerry Lawler.
That's right, and it's really great. A great outpouring of people that grew up watching, and kind of following him from Treadwell High School. He's always stayed here in Memphis. But Jerry the King Lawler, he could live anywhere in the country and be so well known because he's won so many championships. His first championship he won as a wrestler was 1970, 53 years ago, and he's got more championships. He's been inducted into more Hall of Fames. People love Jerry, and he's got a special treat for all the people that come to the Hilton on Sunday night, 5:30 for our cocktails and 6:30 for dinner. We've got a special video, and he'll be speaking to the crowd there. But he's going to host whoever it wins at the live auction. His Bat Cave, his home. He's got more memorabilia in there. He's got one of the original Batmobiles from the movies, and so it's really great to be able to honor one of Memphis's great citizens. He's had this health difficulties that have been public, some months ago, but he's so humble and he's so appreciative of being honored here in his hometown. So we'll be presenting him with our Distinguished Citizen Award, the highest award of the bowl that goes back years and years. A couple of years ago it was Peyton Manning. Before that we've had generals and admirals and governors and Nobel Prize winners. It's a great award, and he's very appreciative. So if anybody wants to come and join us there Sunday evening at the Hilton, give us a call at our office. We still have seats available, and all the money goes to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So anybody that pays a fee for dinner or comes and bids in the silent or the live auction have a big time and have a chance to honor Jerry Lawler.
Thank you, Steve. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you guys. We'll see you for it. And just a shout out to you. Dave Voloshin's going to be handling the live auction item there. So if there's any Dave Voloshin fans out there listening, come on out to the Hilton on 5:30 on Sunday night.
Come and open up your checkbook for St. Jude. We love it. Thank you, Steve. We appreciate you. That's the Big Cheese, the head honcho of the Liberty Bowl. Our title sponsor, it's Homer. Homer's Kelton Hyundai in Olive Branch at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78. That's Lamar. And if you love luxury, they got a deal on a Genesis now. Finance with Genesis, you can get a G70 and a $1,000 rebate on that rocket ship of a car. Oh, I love it. You'll love it, I promise. And you get this deal where they're paying you to do business with them at Homer Skelton Hyundai. We take a break. When we come back, we talk football, some boats with their analyst on radio. That would be Russell Copeland, and we'll talk some NFL too. That comes your way in just a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Okay, I'll flip you for it.
Nope.
Only one of us can be the guy that's overly obsessed with Central Barbecue.
Me? No one loves Central Barbecue more than me.
No, that's me. I've been honking Central Barbecue for years, so heads or tails?
Not fair. Look, I love every single thing on the Central Barbecue menu.
Oh, you do not.
I do so every single thing.
What about the vegan options? You love those?
I don't love the idea of eating the vegan option at Central Barbecue, but I do love that they have the items available for those that do.
All right, I got to give it to you. That was a pretty good dodge.
Because I love Central Barbecue.
We've run out of time for the coin toss.
Yes.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Do you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes? Good news. There's a new way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. Call U.S. Tax Shield, A+ rated with the BBB. 800-391-5063 for your free consultation and let U.S. Tax Shield protect you from the IRS.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show, right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM, your Mid-South sports station.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, what a day to get out and play Miramichi. By the way, you folks, Cheryl Pardue wants to thank all of you. There were a few memberships that were available. They're gone. Everybody took that deal, and I mean they gobbled it up, and why wouldn't you? That beautiful golf course with all the golf you can play, and again, this is great for anybody who wants to go out and play. First of all, as the daily fee courses go, it's got an unbelievable rate. And then no other course has a driving range like theirs or a practice facility and all of the golf balls you can hit. It's just terrific. And again, everybody thinks it's so far. It's not far away. It's 12 minutes from downtown. It's in Woodstock. It's beautiful. It's Miramichi. Get out there and play today. Our good friend Russell Copeland is a busy guy. His seasons never end now that he's part of the USFL and their radio broadcast team with the Showboats. And the Showboats have won 4 in a row. And now I think they have a shot at making the playoffs, right? If they were to win out, they would definitely do that because they would beat the guys that are tied with them or in front of them.
Most definitely. I think this Memphis Showboats football team right now is playing the best in the USFL, and I actually think they are the best team, especially over the past 4 weeks.
What's happened? The defense got better. Dave Rosano, the GM, got enough folks up front, and their DC was able to figure out who we want. I mean, we know this team has been defensive oriented, and that's what has won them games. But what was the genesis of it all?
Honestly, Dave, I think it's a collective of everything that you just said. I think you can't say enough about Dave Lozano of being able to bring in the talent. You know, this Memphis Showboats football team has the most injured reserve of the entire league, and being able to bring quality talent. And I don't think a lot of people understand. You only have 10 weeks, and it's very hard to find talent that's going to come in and fit your team and have that continuity. So it starts there. But this team wins with the defense. The defense sets the tone, and the defense has gotten healthy. They're playing very well under Cornell Lake. Brock Marion is also on that staff. When you look at the turnover ratio, they're +4. And over these past weeks, they have 20 sacks. And they have just been a turnover machine. And that is the nucleus of why this football team has been winning defense, giving the football back to the offense on the short side of the field. But all three phases have come together at the right time, and that's why they're the best team in the USFL.
John Atkins, Derek Dillon. These are names we should get to know. Dillon's had the pick of the kick six. He also caught the big 62-yard touchdown pass that ended up beating Houston the other day. Are these guys close to being NFL guys? Dillon came from LSU, and Atkins came from Georgia.
You know, Atkins is an old, crafty veteran. He's been around for a long time, and I think both of them will get an opportunity to get into an NFL camp. You look at Dylan, he's still a young player. Look at the past couple of weeks, he's been able to make some outstanding individual plays. A couple of weeks ago, he tied NFL record with the longest return in the history of professional football, 109 yards. Just a tremendous individual effort. Time running out in last week's game, ended up, making the catch, but not just the catch, because he was able to elude defenders and run for 64 yards. But I do think that these young men here will get an opportunity to play, much like a lot of players in the USFL. I think it's a really good league. I think it's a good brand of football. You have a lot of talent, and you have players that are kind of tweeners that have been able to be in camps and not quite able to make teams. And I think this what this league brings for those type of players.
All right, hard one for you. 3 games left. They're not 4-3. They've won 4 in a row. They got the competition that they're vying with for the playoffs in front of them. They got an easy one, should be on paper, against a New Jersey team that is not very good, and that game's in Canton, so nobody's going to be there. Will the Showboats make the playoffs?
Definitely, I think so. I do think this is a tough game that they're playing this weekend. I don't look at records in this league, but I do think they make the playoffs. I think it's a week-to-week league. You look at Memphis several weeks ago; they were 0-3. No one thought that Memphis would be here. All games pretty much have been close. It'll be a tough game on the road, but I think they win that game. And it's really going to be 2 great home games coming back. You got Birmingham and you got New Orleans. Those should be really exciting football game.
Well, but Birmingham beat the heck out of them the first game. They're a different team now, right?
Both teams, but this Memphis Showboats team is definitely a different team. And I think you put that game and throw it to the side. Look at how this football team is playing now. Defensively, they lost 45-2. This is not the same team that Birmingham faced several weeks ago.
All right. We got a lot of new head coaches in the NFL. You got Sean Payton now at Denver, Frank Wright now at Carolina. You've got D'Amico Ryan back in the league. You got the Arizona now has Phil Johnston, who was the defensive coordinator from Philadelphia, the offensive coordinator from Philly. Shane Steichen is at Indy. Which coach has the biggest impact on the league this year?
Well, you have to go with Super Bowl winning quarterback, I think. Sean Payton. When you look at Sean Payton, when you look at that Denver roster, I think it's a very talented Denver roster. I think the biggest question is Russell Wilson. I think for everyone, the biggest surprise and shock is how bad Russell Wilson looked from one year to the next. And I think Sean Payton, if he can get Russell Wilson playing good football, he doesn't have to be great. I think the Denver Broncos would be right where they need to be. But I'm just really looking forward to all of these coaches coaching, especially D'Amico Ryan, Dave. I think they had a tremendous draft. They were able to get C.J. Stroud in the second round. I love the wide receiver they picked, Nathaniel Dale. We've seen him play at the University of Houston. And they also got Will Anderson at number 3. So number 2 and number 3, those great picks. I think they have a good, solid defense. They've got the quarterbacks they believe of the future. So I want to see how he can be able to turn that Houston, Texas organization around.
What happened with DeAndre Hopkins and the release in Arizona? Did the new coach, did he just not care for him?
Well, I think DeAndre Hopkins, he's an all-pro wide receiver. He's been one of the top wide receivers for the past 7 to 8 years. I think he wants to be able to move on, and he said it himself. He wants to be in a stable management, which starts upstairs, and he hasn't had that with Houston, and he has not had that in the past 3 years with Arizona. He's went to 3 or 4 different general managers, and he wants to be able to play. He said for a quarterback that he feels that it's a leader, a quarterback that's going to get not only himself better, but get everyone else around him. And it's really interesting of the quarterbacks that he said that he would like to play for: Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and Justin Herbert. Now we have to be able to look at what those teams have and what they have at the wide receiver position. For me, just looking at everything, Dave, I think the Bills and the Eagles may be a good spot for him if he's able to get with one of those quarterbacks, because the Eagles have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and the Bills have Diggs and Gabe Rogers. Everyone else, I think they have solidified their wide receiving core, especially with the upcoming draft that we just saw in April.
Let me correct myself, because I couldn't even read my own darn handwriting. It's Jonathan Gannon, who's now the head coach at Arizona, and Hopkins obviously opted to go away from him, hoping for better. Camps open some this week with the voluntary, or really, is it?
OTAs.
OTAs, right.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, I believe it's either this weekend or is it next week where they?
Well, it's pretty much all of them. All of them at the end of May and this first week of June. Most teams have OTAs then, and they have a mandatory minicamp around the 13th and the 15th. So pretty much the middle of June, you'll have pretty much mostly teams will be having their mini camps, and all of their players will be in at that time.
And Aaron Rodgers apparently is not 100%, but he's going to be a full participant.
He definitely is. He has a strained calf, but, there's so much optimism in New York. I mean, I don't think it's been this much optimism since you saw Joe Namath playing, in the late 60s and 70s. So a lot of optimism there. I'm just really excited about that AFC East. When you look at Aaron Rodgers coming to the fold with that great defense, now you have the quarterback to solidify your offense. I think that's really going to be a great division.
Funny that you mentioned Joe Namath. You realize yesterday was his 80th birthday?
Wow.
Time goes fast, doesn't it? 80 years old, Joe Namath.
Broadway.
Unbelievable. Well, it's a good thing he changed his act up, because if he hadn't gotten a little bit more healthy mindset, he would not have seen 80, but he has. So good for Joe. I think everybody who watched Joe when he was at Alabama and with the New York Jets and the boastful guarantee at the Super Bowl, they really came to think the world of Joe Namath. Russell, you have a safe trip. I know you're going to the Hall of Fame, right? Because the ball game is in Canton.
Absolutely. You can't go to Canton unless you visit the Hall of Fame. And last time I went was my wide receiver coach, Charlie Joyner, was inducted when I was playing for the Bills. So I'm just looking forward to this trip, and hopefully the Showboats can get there, play well, and come back with a victory.
I look forward to getting an update from you on what the since you've been there, because I understand it's been spruced up a little bit. You'll have to let us know just exactly what they've done to improve the Hall of Fame. Safe travels. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Thank you, Dave.
That is Russell Copeland on the National Football League and the Showboats. Jarvis Greer is going to join us here in just a minute. And they're brought to you in part by the Eflin Insurance Team. And Eflin is a big Tiger guy, 901-386-GUR. He puts that for Tigers in his telephone number. That's 901-386-4777. And the way he operates is he gets to know you. It's insurance with collaboration. He wants to know your family. He wants to know what's important to you, what your budget is when it comes to life insurance or a car program, even your home, your mortgage. He takes care of you by getting to know you. And it's the same philosophy to small to mid-sized businesses. If you have one of those and you're looking for commercial insurance, there's nobody better. He'll get to know you, your product, your employees, what your budget is, and then he finds the right protection from wherever he has to go to get it. He really gets to know you. That's the way the Eflin Insurance Team works. Again, that number is 901-386-4777. Jarvo, he comes your way in just a minute.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
There are so many ways to buy and sell houses these days. How do you choose? Well, of course, choose the right way with Chet Whitsitt. Chet has over 37 years of experience as both a broker and a sales agent. He's helped lots of people buy and sell homes, and he will help you. It's the right way, and it's that easy. Buying, selling, or referrals, check with Chet at 901-484-5689 and Cry Like Realtors at 901-756-8900. Buying or selling? Check with Chet Whitsitt.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
A new era in public safety begins with you. Be the change you want to see. Join us for the Memphis Police Department Hiring Expo Saturday, June 10th, 2023 from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 170 North Main Street downtown. We'll be taking applications, performing basic testing, and interviewing candidates on site. Free parking will be located at Poplar Avenue and Front Street. Benefits include a $15,000 sign-on bonus, up to $10,000 relocation assistance. For more information or details, visit joinmpd.com.
Nothing says summer like an ice-cold Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Smooth, refreshing, real brewed tea with 5% alcohol. Look for Twisted Tea in the bright yellow cans. Keep it twisted!
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Cruising through this Thursday, man, it's hard to believe. 1st of June already here, and we always conclude our Thursdays with Jarvis Greer, now with Grind City Media. Also, he is a Showboats ambassador. All right, I'm going to start with this now. I asked Russell Copeland the same thing. I kind of expect you're going to give me the same answer, but boats, fates, in their own hands. Will they make the playoffs?
Well, if you look at it, they've beaten every one of – well, they haven't faced New Jersey yet. New Jersey's kind of in a tailspin. That's who they play this weekend.
Right.
They beat the Breakers when they were unbeaten. They were 4-0 when they went down and played them in Birmingham. And they pretty much controlled that game from the outset and held on to win that one 17-10. And then the last game of the regular season, the home game against Birmingham here at the Sim, and that's Birmingham blew the doors off the Showboats, 42-2. I mean, it wasn't even a game, but that was the last game that Brady White started. They made a change at quarterback. They also got some people healthy, and that's when they went on this winning streak that they're on now. So just got to keep winning. You know, like forget which coach said it. I'm going to invoke that name, John Calipari. He said the more you win, the bigger the games get. So this is a huge one coming up this weekend, but I think they'll make it. They're in second place right now, and they're playing as good as anybody in the rest of the league and have been very impressive. They really didn't have a good game from the quarterback, Cole Kelly, the last game, but they still managed to win. They got some more turnovers from the defense, great play by the defensive line against a team that was very strong, and they pulled out a victory. So, hey, they're on a roll. Why not?
Hey, I haven't Gemma, check. What's the line on that Jersey Boats game?
The Jersey favored by 2.5.
What?
But which is crazy. The hottest team in the USFL, underdogs.
Oh, I would have thought that the Boats would have been like 4-point favorites. No. That's incredible.
2-point dogs.
Yeah, I would think. I don't know how they get that. Like I said, New Jersey's kind of been on a little bit of a slide here lately. They do have a very good running back. They have a very good running game, but I mean the Showboats have shown that they can hit on all cylinders. They've gotten their running game back together finally.
John Atkins and that inside linebacker, what's his name?
Neal.
That's
Neal.
it.
Yeah.
They're going to shut that guy down. They shut down Thompson, who I was starting to think that the Gamblers running back might have been the best guy in the league, and they shut him down, except for the one run for a touchdown.
Yeah, he kind of destroyed the Showboats on that one. That draw call, which is a great call against man-to-man defense on a 3rd and long, and they had to have it. And they called the draw. Everybody went out wide, and he rolled up the middle and scored. But the Showboats, got the game winner from Derek Dillon, who got the Offensive Player of the Week, and also from Big John Atkins got Defensive Player of the Week. I think he had like 3 pass knockdowns.
I think
line of scrimmage by himself.
I thought he had like 5, to be honest.
Yeah, I know it was a bunch. Well, the guy that they just signed had a couple, and it was like whenever they dropped back the pass, they weren't getting anything done. It's like knocked down. And like they need a big play on defense. They got.
All right,
that's been the biggest difference in the Showboats from the beginning of the year to now. Other than that quarterback, their defense has really, really, really stepped up and come through.
Oh yeah, that's all those turnovers. including a couple in last game.
That's 12 in 4 games.
12 in 4
That's not
games.
bad.
That's pretty impressive for sure.
After only having one in the first 3.
And how many have they had in those 4 games? I know they had the one pick early yesterday. I think that, or last Sunday.
Yeah, that's it.
I think that's it. I think
they've
that's
had 2.
You'll take a 12-1,
2.
12-2 ratio. I'll take that any day of the week. All right, so you're connected with Grind City, so you must know, what is Adam Silver going to do with that suspension, and when are we going to hear?
I wish I did know, man. I mean, I'd go to Tunica if I did know, but no, I do not know what they're going to do. There are a lot of people, since the Eastern Conference Finals took so long, a lot of people think that Silver would make an announcement, between the end of the Eastern Series and the beginning of the NBA Finals, but it was not enough time. So
that didn't happen. That obviously did not happen. Yeah.
No. I imagine they'll wait till the finals are over before they make a decision.
Well, they certainly have to do it before the draft so that Memphis knows what deals they might be able to make depending on how long the suspension will be.
And this also is the unofficial opening of free agency. You're not supposed to do anything, but they do. They're talking to everybody now and trying to get their ducks in a row on that. But as far as Ja's announcement is concerned, I think they'll have to make some sort of announcement before the draft. And I think part of this is the negotiation with the players union, as far as, because you just can't come out willy-nilly and say, well, he did this, didn't break any laws, didn't do this, it wasn't this or that, but it's against our code of conduct, basically. It's a code of conduct question. And, you can't just go and slap somebody with a 30-game suspension, which, a suspension like that has been for fighting or, hitting a referee or going into the stands, or breaking some law. And that's what none of those happen in this case.
No, but there was a 50-game suspension on Gilbert Arenas for bringing a gun to a stadium. Now, he didn't do that either. That was 50, so I don't think it'll be that. He already got an 8-game suspension for the first one. So I'm guessing this thing's going to be about a 24-game suspension. 20 to 25 would be my bet, but I have no idea, and I think we're all just guessing.
No. Yeah, we're all just guessing. I mean, Silver said in his reaction to the Ja Instagram post, or it was Instagram post by his buddy Devontae Pack, who Ja has since deleted from his Instagram account. He said that Adam Silver said, okay, this is going to be, we've got to do something more serious. So the first suspension was 8. They could double it to 16, or they could add a couple of games on there. Like you said, they could triple it and make it 24. 24 would be pretty harsh. 16 might be about right. It could be somewhere between 16 and 20. Could be it. I doubt it'll be 24, but that I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I'll put it that way.
All right, final thing. Nuggets and Heat. I predicted the Nuggets in 5. J-Mo's predicted the Heat in 7. What say Jarvis Greer?
I'll split it. I'll say 6, and I'll go with the Nuggets.
So you go with the Nuggets.
Yeah.
See, 6, that means 6 means they're going to win on the road.
I think they will. I mean, playoff Jimmy Butler has just been incredible. Plus, they think they might get Tyler Hero back for Game 3. So if they get him back, and he's in any kind of shape, because he's a shot maker. He's a shot taker, and he's a shot maker.
Well, Duncan Robinson has kind of taken on that role a little bit.
Yeah, he has, but then that just gives you another shooter. You put one on either wing, and then what are you going to do?
I'll tell you what, the other guy that stepped up his productivity in the absence of Tyler Hero getting shots was Caleb Martin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what a find that was, huh? They got him out of the G League. And so people say, the G League. Man, there's real players there. Just hadn't gotten the right opportunity with the right club. This is like this. These guys can play basketball, and they can play at that level. It's just like you say, what's his name? Pascal Siakam came out of the G League. Plays with the Raptors. He's an all-star. So, there's a lot of good players now. Just because they play in the G League or say like they're with the Memphis Hustle, that's not a stigma. You look at Junior. Junior was the player of the year in the G League, and he's, I don't know if he's going to be on the team going forward because he may be a trade piece. They might throw in, but he's proven he can score at any level and so and score against people that are bigger than he is. And part of the goal of basketball is putting the ball in the hole, right? And
Right.
he's proven he can do that.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing about that is part of basketball is you got to defend the other side too.
Yeah. But sometimes you need to score.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes you cannot afford to have these long droughts. You need somebody who can put the ball in. That's what they used to talk about Zebo's defense. He got better as he went along. But you talk about a run stopper. The other teams on the run, just throw it to the hand. Remember that?
Yep. I do remember
let
that.
him rumble. Yeah. So that's why they call Junior Gen Zebo, and I like that nickname. So I think he might be a good piece, and we'll see what he does. He'll get some summer league action here. I think Jake LaRavia will get some summer league action because they're not going to give up on him because they spent all that draft capital to get him.
Will Roddy play on that team?
Yeah, Roddy will play. He's going to get some more run, and they'll probably want to see him handle the ball more. I think he's a player. I think he has established himself as somebody, as a rotation player. Yeah, he's got to get more seasoning and all that. But so last year he was a rookie.
When they pointed to him to try to take on LeBron defensively in that series, that said a lot to me. And I think Roddy's got a chance to be a rotation player for a while. Jarvis, as always, we appreciate it. We'll talk next week.
All right, thanks, Dave. Looking forward to it.
Yep, you got it. That is our man, Jarvis Greer. He's brought to you in part by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows you're making a major financial commitment. You're building your dream home, or you're doing that renovation with innovation where you're taking all the modern amenities, putting it in your new home because you love your lot. You don't want to go anywhere. That's exactly what Ken Garland specializes in. And I urge you to go to kengarland.com and see for yourself. Then call him. He's fun to talk to. Sees little details, big picture all at once. 751-1632. That's the number. 751-1632. So go to the website, then give that call and talk about what is on your mind. Maybe you're looking for land. He's got it. Maybe you've got land you're not sure how to utilize. He knows. I'm telling you, 2 generations of building. And he gives you what you should expect: quality construction, on time, on budget. That is Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. That'll do it for us. Andy Schiffman on the NBA tomorrow. We'll get the latest on the portal from Brian Takis. It'll be a busy Friday, but don't go anywhere because Johnny Radio's next.
We're right in the middle of spring and summer's not